You know, home buyers in 2025 and moving forward, I think you guys are going to have to really be awake and aware, because the stuff that I'm starting to see is just so ridiculous. You know, I've been a mortgage lender for 18 years and I've seen some shenanigans, some real shenanigans over the years. But right now it is worse. Did I ever think I would be doing a video that said, is your pre-approval fake? No, I didn't, but that is what we're doing today, because that is what is going on. Yeah, there are lenders right now that are giving home buyers pre-approvals without running credit. Yeah, without running it through desktop underwriting. And without getting documents. Wow. Yeah. Now, what's the most alarming part about this? Not running credit. Yeah, not running credit. So let's talk about how this first came up. A couple months ago, I was talking to a real estate agent, and it was a new agent. We were just having our nice to meet you conversation. And he's like, yeah, I just had a deal blow up. It was crazy. And I'm like, what happened? You know, I've heard everything, I thought. He's like, yeah, we got to like 2 weeks before closing, but the lender couldn't close the deal. Well, did they have a pre-approval? Yeah, they had a pre-approval. So what happened? The lender had never run credit. Excuse me? Yeah, so they gave them a pre-approval without running credit, and then when they were, you know, sending the loan off to try to get the loan approved, they ran credit and it didn't work. What? Yeah. And I'm like, okay, this is just some isolated, you know, weird stuff in this town. And basically what was going on is it was a loan broker, and the loan broker, apparently, this wasn't the only person, they'd been giving out pre-approval letters without running credit. And you may be like, well, why would they do that? So I figured that out recently. We've been talking about the cost of credit reports going up for years. And look, the cost of credit reports in the United States is offensive, to say the least. So, for instance, if I run your credit, right, I work for a megacorp, so I am not personally getting out my credit card to run your credit. I'm not. It's not the way it works for me. Brokers do. In many situations, the brokers are paying for the credit pulls, and what they should be doing is getting you to pay for your own credit report. But a lot of times, you'll have a lender that's scared to ask. They'll be like, well, I don't know, I don't want to lose the client. So, you know, they'll pay for it and hope you don't leave them, or they just don't pull credit. It's crazy. So as a buyer, you're like, well, why does it matter? Here's the thing, guys. When you're going shopping, you want a real pre-approval, because you don't want to end up in a position where you've already paid for an appraisal, you've already paid for inspections, and then you're finding out that you don't really qualify. That's the thing. You know, we do a fully underwritten pre-approval, which means I'm getting all your documents. I'm running it through desktop underwriting. I am pulling credit. Yes, I am. You know, we do a soft pull, and then if I'm fully underwriting you, I am doing a hard pull, because that is the gold standard. Yeah, and sometimes people are like, well, I don't want my credit pulled. Great, don't go shopping for a house. Don't. You know, and that's the thing, is that when you write an offer on a house, it's not just about you. It's also about the seller. And if you want to look attractive to the seller, do you think you look attractive if you haven't really done much and you're scared to pull your credit? No. Do you think you look attractive if your homework's all done, the loan part's already ready to go, everyone knows everything about you, every box has been checked, you are a motivated buyer? Yeah, you look a lot better, guys. It's that simple. So in these cases, the buyers don't even know that these pre-approvals are garbage. So this is how it's coming up again. So I thought that was just isolated. I was like, this is some weird stuff. I can't imagine people are doing this. So 2 nights ago, I was on Reddit. We know I love Reddit. And there's a chat room of lenders, and someone was asking, do you always run AUS before you do a pre-qual? And look, AUS is desktop underwriting. Yes, a lender should be doing that. Guys, I don't care what you're doing. If you're doing a pre-qual or a pre-approval, the minimum is credit and running it through desktop underwriting and docs, I would say. Like, I think doing any sort of letter saying that you can buy a house without those 3 things at a minimum is setting you up to lose money. Like, yeah, it might close, but guess what? Like, There's so many variables that can happen with income, like you want those documents, with desktop underwriting. I've been doing this for so long, and we're going to talk about some of these comments that people say. Here's the thing, I know guidelines backwards and forwards, but I still have files sometimes where I'll be like, yeah, this should be a slam dunk. We cannot get an accept through desktop underwriting. And with a conventional loan, if I can't get an accept, I can't do the loan, guys. That's the thing. That's what buyers don't realize, is they think that, oh, well, if I have a pre-approval, the lender's definitely going to give me this loan. No, right? They're not. That's what you need to know. And you're like, well, if they gave me a pre-approval and I paid for inspections and all of this stuff, and then I found out the pre-approval was garbage, they have to pay me back. No, there's no consequence. And that is part of the problem. There's no consequence to the lender. None. None. They can give you a garbage pre-approval. You can go lose $20,000 based on that letter. And guess what? They don't get charged a penny. That's what you need to know. I know I'm getting fiery, sorry. Okay, so this person's asking, like, who runs AUS, who doesn't? This is what one lender said. Are you ready? I fully pre-approve. Pre-approve, guys, that's supposed to be like the highest standard. People based on a phone call most of the time. If I realize it's close, then I dig into documents and credit polls, etc., definitely based on your experience. It's never done me wrong once, and people love being pre-approved after a phone call. Guys, it's not a real pre-approval. It's not a real pre-approval. And here's the thing. This guy who's like, yep, you're pre-approved, we had our conversation, and guess what? He's not the one giving you the money. He's the one that has to put together the loan once you find a house, and then he sends it off to see if he can get it approved. He doesn't control the money, right? And you're like, oh my God, that was so easy. He pre-approved us in a phone call. He's such a great lender. No, guys, he's just doing as little work as possible, right? And that's the thing. And then you'll get lenders, I'm sure I'll get at least one comment, well, Jen, it's based on experience. Guys, you are not seeing enough files. If you think that you can easily determine 99.99999% of the time that something is a slam dunk, you are a fool and you do not see enough files. There are too many variabilities, especially with income. And someone pushed back on this guy. They're like, do you just work with people with salaries? Because here's the thing, if you guys get like 40 hours a week, you may say you get 40 hours a week. Half the time someone tells me they get 40 hours a week, they don't. They don't. Like maybe they worked 38, maybe they worked 36, maybe they worked 42, and we have to average, and it can affect your ability to qualify. So this guy's just telling people they're pre-approved without doing anything, except for a phone call. Run, run, run. And look, here's the thing. Let's be super honest about this. I do fully underwritten pre-approvals. Do I charge you for it? No. I mean, look, I could fully underwrite you. You could go with another lender. It'd break my heart. But at the same point, like, I'm putting out a lot of effort and energy to make sure that you are getting a good pre-approval. Why? Because I respect you. I respect your money. Like, it's my job to work for you. And if I just did a phone call, like, would I be right 80% of the time, maybe 90? Sure. But whose money am I risking? Yours. Is that respectful to you? No. Am I working for you? No, I'm being a lazy ass, excuse my language, but I'm being a lazy ass, just doing, yep, you sound good. Click, click, here's a letter. Go risk your money, baby. So messed up. I'm sorry, I get so mad. I'm not sorry. I get mad, and I should. It's bullshit. These people should not be in our industry. That's the thing, because it's not like he's not telling the buyer, oh, hey, yeah, I'm not running credit. I'm not running you through AUS. I'm not even looking at your documents. I am giving you a bullshit letter. You're going to go shopping, and guess what? If it fails, oops, but it hasn't failed yet. Let's go try it with your money, sir, ma'am. I don't know why it has an accent. It's the way he wrote it. Okay. Terrible accent too, I shouldn't do them. Now, another person said, an experienced loan officer can pre-qual loans health on the first call without having to spend money on a credit report. That's the whole thing. They're all just trying to avoid spending money on a credit report or asking you to pay for your own credit report. That's what all this nonsense is about. Because back in the day, did I see that many people doing this? No. But now that credit reports are so expensive, they're scared to pay for it themselves and they're scared to ask you for money. I'm happy to ask you for money. If I need money for your credit report, I'm going to ask you for it. Okay. So let's see here. Without having to spend money on a credit report, I typically do a soft pull if I think the loan has legs. So here's another thing with that kills me. So if I think the loan has legs, so he's doing rough calculations, and then if he thinks it looks good, he's going to run a soft pull. But if he doesn't think it looks good, he's not doing anything for you except for some rough calculations. He's not going to spend any money on a soft pull so that you can see where your credit score is. He's not going to ask you to pay for it. He's just going to see what he thinks. If it checks out, then he will run credit and run AUS. But he said it's not out of the ordinary for an experienced loan officer to not run AUS when they pre-qual someone. That's desktop underwriting. I disagree. I disagree with that so much. Here's the thing. This is a world where they're basically saying that, yeah, why would I run AUS? And when you get into the comments, there's another guy that's like, yeah, I do pre-approval letters. I don't run credit. I don't run AUS until they're in contract. Both cost money. So they're trying not to spend money. They're giving you a letter that says you're fully pre-approved. You're not. You're not. Okay, rant over. So as a buyer, a first-time home buyer or buyer in general, what do you need to do? Now look, I'm going to be blunt because a lot of times I get this question and it drives me nuts. Jen, how do I look for a mortgage lender? Call us. If you've watched like 10, 15, 20 of my videos, you're vested, my friend. Like, just accept it. Look at our reviews. We are not going to play these games. Call us. I'm in 48 states. My team's in 50. So if you're Utah or Rhode Island, you're getting Christina, who's been a loan officer for over 30 years. You'll be good. So call us. But if you're like, Jen, I already have a lender. Is this real? This is what you need to ask them. Hey, did you run my credit report? Yes or no? Did you do a soft pull or a hard pull? Yes or no? How many bureaus did you run? Now look, if I'm doing a pre-approval, especially a government loans, guys, people get declined every single day on soft pull credit. Soft pull credit is like the light one that doesn't really work. They get declined all the time because DU, which is one of the desktop underwriting, doesn't read it, and LP isn't always accurate. So did you run a soft pull or a hard pull credit? If you're a veteran and someone's telling you you do not qualify and they only ran a soft pull, please hang up and call me immediately. They're an idiot. Then you're also going to ask, okay, how many bureaus? The reason I say that is because credit reports are so darn expensive now. With a soft pull, sometimes lenders are just doing 1 bureau or 2 bureau. We tried it at Rate. We tried doing 2 bureaus. It was a disaster. A disaster. You know, we had, not all the time, but it's like you would have files where it was getting an approve everything else, and then you pull 3 and it doesn't. Now look, did that happen to me? No, because I do hard pull credit. I don't like soft pull credit in general, but we're doing at least 3 bureaus. But when I was going through this comments, this one guy was like, yeah, I just do 1 bureau and run it through AUS. Another person responded, they're like, hey, you need to be careful. We had a coworker get burnt by this, just like what I'm saying right now. So how many bureaus? And then you want to know, did you run AUS? Do I have a DU or LP approval? Do I? And you know what I'm going to do, guys, is I'm actually going to put together like a little sheet. I'll have it up on my website, and I'll have a link to that so that you guys have these questions. And if they say, no, I didn't, right? And if they say, yes, I did, say, okay, based on you running these 2 things, you know, I'm comfortable moving forward. Or based on you running these 2 things, what did it look like? What was my debt to income? I'll have some follow-up questions you can ask. But if they say, oh, you don't need that until we get into contract, it's your money you're risking. Like, they're not liable. I just can't tell you guys that enough, because people are always super shocked by that. They're like, seriously, so a lender can give me a fake pre-approval. I can go put my hopes and dreams into a house. It can all blow up because the lender didn't do the basics of their job. And they don't have to pay anything. No. They don't have to give me the loan. They gave me a pre-approval. No. No. So look, I could go on for days about this, but make sure you're getting a real pre-approval. If you want a real pre-approval that's fully underwritten, that's right, because we don't mess around. We want you to have a strong offer, and we want to make sure there's no problems. Give us a call, 786-933-2077. But watch out for these clowns that are just protecting their wallet. They're afraid to ask you for money, and they're putting your money at risk. Thanks for watching.